Johnson & Wales University and the Distinguished Visiting Chef Committee proudly presents the Distinguished Visiting Chef Series, an educational resource and video reference library for culinary students and professionals. Today's guest, Chef Bruno Albouze.
Welcome again. This is obviously the second half of our presentation for the special day that we'd like to sort of roll out once a year with our guest chef, Chef Bruno. He's come here from all the way, sort of circumnavigating the globe a little bit, coming from France over to Vegas, San Francisco, and then ending up in San Diego, and now back in Providence, which he really thinks is the highlight of his sort of journey so far. So I really like Providence a lot. I'm not going to talk too much about him because I think he knows himself a whole lot better. But one thing I do want to bring to your attention, or what sort of triggered my interest in Chef, was that he brings a lot of different elements. Us in the pastry profession really draw a pretty clean line between the baking profession and the pastry profession. And they sort of work together, but yet we sort of see things somewhat differently at times. I think Chef Bruno has a unique ability to really marry the two skills together very well. And you might not see too much of the baking or decorative bread art that he does, but if you guys get an opportunity and do bring it to his attention at the end, if he doesn't mention it himself, he's a little shy, but he'll come out of the shell in about 5 minutes. Ask him about how he promotes himself, because I think it's a huge benefit to you guys to sort of listen to him carefully and what he does and how he gets his word out there, because he got himself out there and he's here now because he did something that I thought was pretty unique, dealing with YouTube, dealing with the media that you guys are so savvy at, much more than we are at our age. So I hope you take advantage of that and bring it to his attention because you might forget. I think, Chef, I want to read just one small little quote to me that sort of struck in a chord that's, I think you guys might have or have seen it, but I just want to read it one more time. In addition to the many comfort foods I love to prepare and teach in my classes, bread is my favorite in the kitchen, which to me obviously is a lot. Having been a pastry chef, and I still consider myself a pastry chef, but working mainly with bread now, I can definitely relate to that statement. Its history as a universal symbol is ancient. Its texture lends itself to so much variety, and people love what they can be done with it. From making it into delicious loaves to be shared, to sculpting it into artful masterpieces. And I think we all do that subconsciously when we are dealing with desserts, plated desserts. We start from a simple, plain ingredient. We marry it together with a couple of other flavorful components, and we create hopefully a small masterpiece that's to be consumed by the general masses. And I think Chef Bruno is going to take you on a little journey and create a couple of masterpieces himself. Hope you enjoy it. If you have questions, please communicate with the chef. I think he is very good at entertaining, and I think he has some pretty good stories to tell. So, Chef Bruno.
Thank you, Chef Cyril. So I am honored to be here today, and thank you guys for coming over. And I think we're gonna have fun. So once again, if you have any questions, just feel free and raise your hand and I will respond. So I come from France originally, Southwest. If you are familiar with Bordeaux, Toulouse, and then I lived in Paris 3 or 4 years before I came here. So I grew up with a family with 7 kids. My mother was working hard at home, you know, especially to make the food every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So it was a lot of work for her. And I was involved in the kitchen because I did like it. I mean, I still doing like it. And my father was, by the way, a good tart maker, like apple pie. Every Sunday after the church, we used to have a big apple pie. I was actually in charge of peeling the apple, which wasn't funny. Because every Sunday we had neighbors or some friends or family coming over. So we were about 20. A big table with 20 people every Sunday. So we used to make a big apple pie. And that's a lot of apple that you have to peel. I would say 70 apple. So then I start to like it, peeling apple. And it's funny because when you do something that you don't really like, if you think it's done, feel it? It's going to be easier if you think it's already done before you start it. So that's help a little bit. So my mother used to cook very simple, like comfort food, simple and healthy food. My father still has a garden and grows vegetables, tomatoes, eggplants, artichokes. How do you say? Artichokes? Artichokes. Okay. A big flower. What else? Leeks, parsley, rosemary, thyme, all kind of herbs, tomatoes. We have a huge variety of tomatoes, and when the summer comes, I mean, they don't look great, but that's the tricky thing. If a fruit or vegetable is too perfect, something is wrong. So it's not calibrated or whatever. It's shaped like, you know, with some bumps and stuff, but so juicy and tasty just by itself. You don't even need to cook much. So that's the base of good cooking and baking, whatever you want to do. You have to have a good ingredients and fresh fruits and vegetables or meat. That's the most important thing. The rest of it comes with skill and learning how to cook and get some basics. So I follow an apprenticeship. I was 14. My first job, I was actually 13 years old. I was working in a restaurant washing dishes every summertime, because by the time I was at school, so on the summer break, I used to get some money from, it wasn't a lot, it was nothing, but it was interesting to feel the atmosphere of the kitchen. And some restaurants really crazy in the summertime, especially the tourist area get really busy in the summertime, so that's a rush every day. You sweater and you don't have any air conditioning, it's really hard. But the atmosphere is good, you know, most of the time, and you get connection. And then I decided to start an apprenticeship, and I was interested first of cooking, so I started to cook. and then bake, and then pastry. So I did 3 things during my apprenticeship. And my salary was $10 for 1 week of work, 70 hours a day, and I was 16. So that's not a lot. But at this time, and I would say, when you have a philosophy of becoming a chef or learning, you can't learn and at the same time have a big expectation of making money. So you have to learn basics first, and then increase your knowledge about what you want to do, what you want to be, and then you can expect something when you feel capable. And it's not only about having skills, it's also managing a team, which is, I would say, one of the most important things is be able to manage a team. Because everybody feel like I'm the best, but in the kitchen, if you don't have good people with you, you are nothing. And you can't work 24/7, okay? So you have to teach to your sous chef or all of your team how to make things consistent every day. And then you can work less or work on something else, and then have a good sous chef working in your kitchen. Otherwise, I know some chef, French chef, they are very good cook, but not a good manager, and they actually have to work 15, 16 hours a day, even sometimes more, because they feel like nobody can do what they do. And that's absolutely not true. Everybody is capable. So you have first a self-motivation, which comes from what you want to do, what you want to be, your goal, ultimate goal, whatever, and you have a step. And once you reach step by step, you actually improve yourself, you feel more comfortable, and you can expect, a better future. But it's very important if you work in a restaurant, bakery, or any kind of business, actually. Any kind of business, the team work is very important. Rewarding, be polite, be nice with everyone. If somebody doesn't understand something, is not like the Hell's Kitchen. You scream on it, but that's the show. But in France, it used to be like that. The Hell's Kitchen used to be like that. It just kick your ass. And even worse, sometimes it slap your face like that. I got a couple of them when I was apprentice. I was a big guy, and then he wasn't happy with what I was doing. So, oh my God, I remember that. He was a baker with a big hand like that. It looked like Bigfoot, full of flour, and then da! I was like, okay. Today we're gonna see a few the recipe savory and sweet. So I like to combine both savory and sweet because both sides help to understand each other. Especially working with dough as a bread making or any kind of recipe based on dough, you have to follow some principle to succeed, and you'll be fine. So let's come back to France a little bit. Have you been, somebody ever been to France, maybe? Are you familiar with the French country? Yeah, a little bit? Some part of America looks like French country. You can see the landscape and style. Very pretty. So after being apprentice, after 3 years, I was graduated, and then I work in different places like restaurant and bakery. And then I went to Paris for to work at the Ritz Hotel. And then Alain Ducasse hired me to run the baking at the Plaza Athénée. It was in 2000. So I became a chef over there after 15 years of worker and sous chef. So it was a long time. But once again, if you want to become a chef, it's just up to you. Everything is possible as long as you want to do it, and you're a hard worker and good connection. That's important. So go to facebook.com and you can have a good connection. Find a lot of friends. By the way, there is one website called LinkedIn. Are you familiar with LinkedIn? It's a professional networking, very serious. So I recommend you to open an account and, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Yeah, it's very popular. I think it's the same guy owned LinkedIn and Facebook. But Facebook is like family purposes, and LinkedIn is professional. So it's always interesting to have your resume or your expectation and your goal, what you want to do, and you can find a position, a work, and be connected with people. So it's trendy to do that. So I have also created a website when I came over here 4 years ago. I didn't know anything about computer, and I decided to buy an Apple computer because I like apple pie, so it was good to switch to a computer. It was easy to say. And I created a website with my own photography, thing that you can do, and I saw the studio that you have over there was nice light, and I found this really clever to do. When you have met something, you can take a photo shoot, and it's always good to have a book with what you have done. It's very important. And then you can build yourself your website or built by somebody else. But it's not really complicated to build a website. You need to get the right software and then upload your photography, add a little comment, and start to sell yourself like that. Have a little something that represents yourself, even though it's you have not accomplished a lot, but that's show that you are motivated to do something and you are already in something, in the process of. So don't be afraid to start with just small things and then you update it month after month, year after year, and then. So Paris was a wonderful experience, and when you come from the countryside, you feel like Paris it's big, and Parisian people they have a big ego compared to the south of France. I mean, they like to fight all the time, especially the soccer team. But Paris was the most incredible experience. And I recommend you guys to, if you go to Europe or even here, if you can find a position working in a hotel, restaurant, because the resort they have, it's the big structure, so they have so much things to see, and even position that you may want to be in different department. And so it's very exciting to have an experience working in this kind of luxury hotel resort. There is plenty of them here in Hawaii, Caribbean, and all over the United States, of course. But working at a smaller company like bakery, pastry shop, it's also interesting too. I mean, you actually can start with a smaller company and then think bigger afterward. Would be the wise to because you can see a different type of work and dealing with different people, and then when you get more insurance and you feel ready to get the next step, so you can move forward, right? So you have a recipe with you, right? We're gonna start by the quiche dough, which could be called pâte brisée. It's pretty similar, but the quiche dough has a percentage of potato flour or corn flour, which gives less elasticity to the dough, because we don't want elasticity. So by adding some starch, we get a nice and perfect texture to the final result. Crispy and pleasant. If the dough is too elastic, you're gonna feel it. So what I like to do when I mix the dough, by the way, is cream the butter. So to cream the butter, we need to have a softened butter. If it's too hard, what I'm doing is I'm gonna warm it up a little bit. Over a water bath, like this, or you can use a microwave, but don't put this in microwave, of course. Just a little container, a glass container or plastic container. And it's about 10, 20 seconds, you'll see. It should not be melted, okay? Because once the butter is melted, you can't come back like it was before, solid, it's over. But you can reuse it for cooking. But it won't cream well. It won't work like it should be. So just either warm it up the sides of the bowl, and use the paddle attachment, which is the French term is the leaf. Leaf means feuille, because it actually looks like a leaf. So now I'm going to start to cream the butter. And, okay, oh yeah, like that. Perfect. Be nice. I'm gonna add the salt. Okay, get some humidity in it. So some people like to use a food processor to mix the dough. So if you do this, the butter must be cold. Just diced or chopped, but cold. Because the food processor heat up the dough fast by the rotation. So I'm gonna warm up a little bit more. It's a little too cold. Which one is working, by the way? I hope so. I'm not gonna. No, it's fine. Good. Perfect. So the pound cake means four portion equal, like sugar, butter, eggs, flour. That's the meaning of pound cake. But there is so many variation of pound cake. But the making process should be the same. cream the butter with sugar. No, this is not the, sorry, I'm talking about the quiche dough. The quiche dough. So I put the butter, salt, and I'm gonna add the potato starch or corn flour. It's actually corn flour. It's pretty good. You'll see the result. And when you have a small quantity like that, you can do that. Just make sure the paddle attachment goes on the bottom. So now we just got the right consistency. I'm gonna add corn flour. Just combine, medium speed. I'm gonna add the liquid, some water, and white vinegar. So the white vinegar is optional. What the white vinegar, turn this off. What the white vinegar does is it avoids the dough to turn dark. You probably have noticed that when the dough stay in the fridge for a few days, it becomes dark. You can see some darkness of the dough. So the white vinegar avoid that. But if you use the dough, if you have a good turnover using the dough every 2 or 3 days, that's okay. Don't worry. So now I'm gonna add. So I add the water, vinegar, the egg. The whole thing should be at room temperature. Otherwise, you won't get a nice texture. So I need to go just scrape the bottom. And then you're gonna get this at the end. So now I'm gonna add the flour. You can use bread flour as well, all purpose, and bleached flour would be the best option. I always believe this guy is done. Okay, good. Just combine. Do not overmix, because we don't want to have we don't want to get any elasticity. Okay. Merci, chef. So I'm going to flatten the dough so you see this should be refrigerated for about 30 minutes, 1 hour. And put in a counter about 10-15 minutes before using. Otherwise it's going to be hard. So I can see here I need a little bit more water. So you can always add a little bit more water if it's too thick or dry. Some flour absorb more water than others, so you may have to add more flour, more liquid. That's it. That's what we want to get. So what I do basically is I need this guy here, some plastic wrap. Then I use this. Do you know what's that? Scraper. Looks like you can do your own. You know how? Just cut a lid from a bucket. And you just design it, you cut it, and you can have your own for free. So then, that's the quiche dough right there. Merci, monsieur. I'm going to keep this. Get this up. So then you just shape like this, and then put in the fridge for about 30 minutes, and then you get this. Or you can, if you want to, pass around and feel the sensation of the dough. So I'm going to so let me show you. So I'm going to use a 7 or 9 inch wide. Mitch, 7 or 9? 10. So it's about 9 each, right? I may not need this. Okay. I like playing with dough. I like the sensation. So you work a little bit the dough like this. Make sure you get the right temperature. So do not overheat, because your hand, like the temperature of the body is, what, 300 degrees? I'm just kidding. What is the temperature of the body in Fahrenheit? 90? 98.7. Right? When you got outside, it's cooler than that, trust me. So keep the round shape like that. Make sure if you have a round at the beginning, you'll get the round at the end. Okay? If you start by a triangle, it's not going to work. Unless your mold is triangle. But I don't think you can find those guys. So use a rolling pin. Rolling pin. So just go this way. Make sure you keep the round shape. And the pressure should be in the middle. I mean on each side. But think about the middle, don't think about the edges. Otherwise you won't have something evenly flattened. So make sure you have just dust some flour once in a while. Not too much flour is not necessary. Do this like, bam! Right? You know who say that. So you need about, let's see, 1/8 thick. 1/8. Is that okay, 1/8? Will be all right. Not too thick, because that's going to be a problem. It's not going to bake properly if it's too thick. So you got to have the right thickness in order to make it right. There is Food Channel here, right? Food Network. Food Channel. If you let a little crack like that, you just fix it. Okay, so for a 9-inch mold, you need to have a 12-inch round. Make sure all of the edges would be perfect. So then you get this. Okay, make sure it doesn't stick. If it sticks, it's too late. So by the way, if it sticks, put it in the fridge for 5 minutes. Okay. Let cool down a little bit. Okay, so now this, open it up, and then work with your tongue very carefully. Put the dough on the bottom. Make sure the dough touch the bottom on the edges, and then gently all around. And then what I like to do is a little side like this, 1/4 inch. You keep a little thickness. You'll see why. Do you have any question so far? Okay. So now you trim off the edges like that. And you can reuse the leftover. But make sure that if you use the leftover, use 50-50, 50% leftover, 50% fresh dough. If you only use leftover, it's going to become more elastic every time. So less you work the dough, the better. So then that's going to be the last touch-up right there. And that's it. I need to put some fork. So we need to, I'm going to have some flour right now. 15 holes. Just make some holes, make sure it's not going to go crazy in the oven. So what I like to do is using this, again, plastic wrap. It's your best friend. 2-layer. And then you can use pie weights, but it's quite expensive. What it works very well is beans, rice, peat from cherry pit, right? Maybe something else. So then what you do is just fill up this way. Make sure it goes all over. And then this in the middle like that, and you bake it. You have to bake it for about 20 minutes, 350. Then you remove, obviously you have to remove the weight, the beans or whatever you want to use, and bake again for about 10 minutes. Make sure you got this. So light brown color all over. Do not overbake, okay, but make sure it's evenly baked like that. So then now we're going to build our quiche. Do we have another mold? But I can, that's fine. Yeah, but that's fine without, I can make it. I think it's already taken by. So are you familiar with quiches? There is so many variations of quiches, unbelievable, like pizza. It's just crazy. So what is the most important thing about pizza, for instance? First. The dough. That's the good answer. Why? Because it's like that. Why the dough? The foundation. That's the new word for me. Foundation. We need foundation, right? It's the base of cooking. Baking as well. So here is the pre-baked tart shell. That's the right way to say pre-baked tart shell. You can see the hole, but it doesn't go all the way through. But I have a secret to avoid the custard going through the hole. Hope it's going to work. So let me get this, just in case. It should work anyway. So you have to do it inside a mold, okay? Put it back in the mold. Because once you put the filling, it's going to become moist. And it may collapse if you don't use the mold, okay? So remember that you have to use the mold. So yeah, we were talking about dough. So the most important part of the pizza is the dough. There is so many variations of dough: thin crust, thick crust, based on wheat flour, whole wheat flour, cornmeal, etc., etc. The quiche dough, there is less variation of recipe of the dough. But remember that the mixing process is very important, and you saw that. And I add a little corn flour to make sure the texture is right and not elastic. So then, when you pre-baked, It takes a little more time to do, okay, but it's worth it. You'll get a totally different texture. Most of the time, you guys, when you buy a slice of quiches or a big one, a whole one, when you cut it in half, it's never baked. The dough is raw most of the time. Have you seen that? Yeah? So it's because they don't pre-bake it. And when you pre-bake the dough, it makes the difference. Definitely, you'll see the difference. And the texture is so wonderful. So I used roasted potatoes, which is basically Yukon gold potatoes. Do we have silver potatoes or only gold? Okay, gold potatoes, okay. So what I did, basically, you use a half-sheet pan and you rub with olive oil, thyme, rosemary, garlic, salt, pepper, any kind of herbs you like, but potatoes actually go well with rosemary and thyme. And garlic, of course, everybody is crazy about garlic. When Emile Lagasse says garlic on TV, everybody is like applauding and laughing. And at the beginning, I was, what's going on? Why they do that? So do you know why everybody is happy when we say garlic? Garlic, it's part of the culture here. You know, everybody likes garlic. It's healthy. There's so many good property about garlic. It's actually very healthy. I heard that. But you're better off to blanch them before or cook them, because raw, that's good, but not good for your neighborhood. And you also can have some bulbs of garlic behind your door to avoid the bad spirit to come in your house. I don't know if it's true or not, but we used to do that a long time ago, put some garlic. I'm not sure about that. You can try. So obviously you can replace the potatoes by tomatoes, any other vegetables like broccoli. What you have to do is blanch them first. I would say parboiled, which is like 5 or 6 minutes, depends the tenderness that you wanna have. And any kind of vegetables that you like, you can use it. And tomato, if you use tomatoes in summertime, you get the base tomatoes, and you just halve them and sprinkle some olive oil, herbs, and salt, pepper, garlic, and then roast it in the oven for about 20-25 minutes, and then you finish your quiche with instead of potatoes. But you can mix potatoes and tomatoes as well. It's just endless possibility. Even roasted chicken. I'm still confusing with kitchen and chicken. It's not the same thing. How are you? Piece of dough. So, what I do, I like Parmesan, shredded Parmesan, but you can use cheddar. Cheddar? Say again? Cheddar. So I use Parmesan because it's good, right? So what I do is put some Parmesan on the bottom first. That's going to seal. I have learned that before. You're going to seal the holes. Because sometimes if the holes are too big, that's why I use the fine fork here. I'm not crazy about, I don't go crazy about, just a little one. But this actually, by the time it bakes, it melts. So that's going to seal the holes. And then the custard won't go through it. Does make sense? Oui, chef. Add some potatoes. God, that smells good. You can go crazy if you like herbs, rosemary. I mean, just you have to chop them, right? Or you can process them in a food processor. Just a rosemary leaf, remove the steam. Steam, yeah. And add some garlic and salt, pepper, and there we go. What I like to use also is parsley. I have some here, by the way. Parsley and Italian parsley and garlic. So it's a basic flavoring that we actually can spread on any kind of vegetables. What you need to do is just wash the parsley, keep the only leaves, and make with and process with garlic. I would say 1 part of garlic and 6 to 10 part of parsley. Depends if you like strong or not. So then you get basically this, and you can freeze this, by the way. You can freeze it and just use what you want, use what you needed, and then freeze back.
It's a hot one. It's hot.
Oh, wow. You just baked this. Look at that. There we go. I'm going to show you. That's hot. That's sure. Sorry. So I'm going to maybe add a little more potatoes. Potato, patate. We say patate, French term. I mean, patate is more like a slang, but pomme de terre. So pomme de terre means potatoes, that means apple on the ground, on the dirt, apple on the dirt, which is pomme de terre. Interesting. That may help you to know that. So basically what I use for the roast, this is rosemary and garlic, blended, and parsley and garlic. So if you like garlic, there is a few kind of garlic in the market today. They're from China and from California. So how to recognize both? Do you know the differences? No? Yeah. So the garlic from California has kind of hair. You can see some hair like a leek on top, you know. Looks like hairy. And the China one doesn't have any. It's just looks like glossy. And it doesn't smell any. It doesn't have any flavor. So just, you know, when you know that, you can just choose the garlic from California or any other part of the United States, but it actually has better flavor. So let's go back to this guy. I'm gonna add some Roquefort. Roquefort is AOC, which is Appellation d'origine contrôlée, which is the labeled. It's a cheese made from a goat cheese. They have an old process to do it, kind of secret processing. Get aged on a cave with high humidity, and it's like the blue cheese. The blue cheese I think come from the cow milk. It's a little milder, but this very strong, very good. Mixed with potatoes, very good. So what you need to do is just sprinkle some Roquefort on top like that. We don't need much, you know, because that's pretty strong. Okay, nice. And now, what is missing, by the way? Custard. Yeah. By the way, we can use those toppings to make a pizza. Same. Pre-baked toppings should be baked, because the pizza does, you know, depends the pizza that you do, but it actually bakes very fast. So you have to bake things before. So this is a custard based on 50/50 egg yolks, a little bit of flour, salt, pepper, nutmeg, and then that's it. And you can freeze the custard. I did it and it works perfectly. You can as well freeze the raw dough. Where's the dough? So that's how it looks like. You can spread more cheese on top if you want. One more. Oh, what is nice to do when it's baked like that, so remember you have to use the mold, okay? And put it in the oven, 350 for about 20 more minutes. 20, 25, depends the size. And you see when it's set on the middle, you just shake it. You see when it's set, you can insert a knife or a piece of wood, the wood stick, wood pick, toothpick. So that's hot. Okay. If you think it's hot, you're gonna burn yourself. If you think it's not, you're fine. So, yeah, once actually it's baked like that, just sprinkle some cheese, and it's gonna melt. And that what goes well with is a green, salad. Make a mesclun with green salad. Season with olive oil, simple seasoning based on olive oil and vinegar. Which one vinegar? Balsamic. Works well, yeah. Okay. I have one here, by the way. I'm gonna show you. That's another one. This is a little too warm to be cutted, but that's gonna look like this. It's Christmas. So that's the quiche right there, and you're gonna enjoy this recipe. What actually I do when I have some leftover of custard, I freeze it, and then later on, when I make a new custard, I mix with the defrost one. See? So it's the way of reusing without wasting. That's very important right now. Be a good cook is one thing, but you have to think about wasting and managing turnover of food, fresh. All of the kind of ingredients in fresh food that you get. You have to be extremely careful of a perishable product, because that's the most expensive. Fruits, vegetables, and meat is something that requires some rules. And it's never a good thing to throw things away. I heard some chef, when unhappy with a dish or whatever, they throw it away. So many people would be happy to eat that stuff, right? So I think it's obviously easier to throw things away than instead of trying to find a way to reuse it or eat it, even though. So it's an important part of managing. And you actually will be surprised how much money you can make just by saving. It's amazing. I used to work with a catering company, and they were a good cook, but not good at managing. The food cost was just really high. And you can lose thousands of dollars every month by just not doing the right thing. Just about controlling food and freshness. And every time when you get something from when you get a delivery, what we learn in some restaurant in France is you have to check with the chef or the sous chef every time when you get delivery. You have to check everything out. Fish, meat, because all the time, everywhere, they put the nice product on top, and the bad one is underneath. So they try to trick you. So you see the strawberries in summertime, they do that. You get a nice and tough, so, wow! And you remove one thing and you say, that's not the same. So especially when you pay something and you expect something, you got to be careful what you get. Because at the end of the process, it's your clientele, customers, would be angry if they don't get the right things. So remember, good ingredients, fresh products will give you a good result. You don't need to be a super cook or baker or whatever to be able to do a nice product or tasty product. What you have to do is just get the right thing, understand the whole process, follow some rules and principles, and then you get it. Simple, tasty. That's it. And sometimes we want to go a little bit crazier, like creating some fancy stuff with a lot of decoration and things. Decoration, it's fine. It's very entertaining and nice to be able to decorate that a self-expression of some art that we actually everybody has somehow. And it's up to us to develop or not by doing and practicing. But we should work first on the basics, how to make a nice dish or bread or dessert, any kind of things that require a principle and rules to be able to make sure you got the right thing. And then when you get comfortable with and you have enough knowledge to move forward, so then you're ready to decorate things and make fancy dessert. And because sometimes we see a very fancy dessert and it doesn't taste great, right? So what's the point? We don't eat with eyes. It's nice to see something nice, of course, but if it doesn't taste great, there is an unbalanced things right there. So, but I acknowledge that dealing with texture and flavor and everything talks about food. It's quite difficult. It's not really easy to understand, especially at the beginning. It's hard to, but then it comes fast. It comes really fast. Especially when you make mistakes. You learn a lot by doing mistakes. So pound cakes, the principle of making a good pound cake in fluffy dough and the right texture is by creaming the butter. So you cream the butter first with the salt, just a little bit amount of salt. Then when you get the right consistency, like we just did with the dough, you add the sugar, and then you cream it with sugar, and you add egg, one at a time, and the dry other ingredients, which is flour. So what we're gonna do now is doing the same thing. Make a nice pound cake. Some recipe, I would say maybe more muffins, are made a little differently. They combine sugar and eggs first. Till white, they turn it white, fluffy, sugar and eggs. So basically you have two methods to make a pound cake or muffins or all kind of cake make like that, like sponge cake as well. It's mixing sugar and eggs or creaming butter and sugar. So you have fat and sugar or the eggs and sugar. So you have two processes of starting the dough. The texture is a little bit different on both method. Depends what you want, what is the recipe is about, and what you want to get. But most of the time, it's butter and sugar. Cream the butter and sugar. So same principle, just soften and sugar, butter, I'm gonna use those little cute container. It's cute. So here we have baking soda, baking powder, nutmeg. Nutmeg is optional. If you don't like nutmeg, don't add nutmeg. If you like it, add it. Pretty strong, the nutmeg, so, but it's good. It goes very well with banana. And I really like the combination of banana and nutmeg. It's really very good. You have to be careful with that. So, there we go. So start on a low speed, and then you may increase a little bit like this. So now it's running. Where's the salt? Good. We have lemon zest. So wash off the lemons before getting the zest, safer. Because all of the vegetables, lemons get a lot of treatment, chemical treatment, like oranges and stuff. So it's always better to wash them off. Maybe with the organic lemon would be better. Would be the best option. So what we have here is a banana puree blended with lemon. Let me warm this up a little bit more. So I recommend you to, by the way, to use a ripe banana, really, really dark one, like mushy and like they actually should look ugly, ready to throw it away. But that's the best flavor that you can get from it. And also, you get more magnesium. It's very rich in magnesium when the banana gets riper. And the flavor is unbelievable. So then, that's gonna be ready to add the sugar. So I like combining brown sugar and white sugar. Why? Because I like that. Because the brown sugar is a little too strong, in my point of view. So I like putting half and a half. Okay, so let's go. Sugar and sugar. So let's do this on medium speed. All right. So now I'm gonna add the egg one at a time. So you have to be careful when you do this, because sometimes if you have the whole thing on once, it may curdle. Curdle. So what does that mean? Is it separate the fat and the water from the eggs. Okay, eggs is water and this is fat. So that's why we cream the butter first. Otherwise, you can't combine fat and eggs or product based on water with fat if it's not creamed first. So when it's creamed, you get the texture, the right texture, and then it will be much easier to incorporate the egg. And once in time. So I'm gonna mix the flour and baking soda, baking powder, and nutmeg. Wait. Good. So now I'm gonna add one egg. Come on. If you notice that it starts to separate, be curdle, heat it up a little bit, warm it up, just a few seconds. Not like that. So if you don't do that, the dough is, the batter is not going to be well mixed. The texture, you see the texture is. And now I'm not going to add this egg, by the way, because that's going to curdle. So what I'm going to do is add flour, part of the flour, because we already got the fluffy texture. So it's safer now, instead of adding the last egg, is putting a half of dry ingredients. It's safer now because it's not going to curdle anymore. Now I can add the egg. Right? And the puree is ready to go. Banana puree. Okay, just like that. Perfect. Just combine, and then the rest of the flour and the zest, and obviously this at the end. Okay, rest of flour. So if you don't like pecans, you can add walnut, which is the same thing, or any other nuts that you like. And the same for raisins. You can substitute with dry cranberries and other dry, fruits that you may like. But remember that the nutmeg may not go well with other kind of ingredients, so be careful when you change things. The same thing with the banana puree can be replaced by passion fruit puree or a raspberry puree, but then you have to make some changement on your recipe. Don't add any nutmeg if you do that with a raspberry. Okay, so you can change the type of flavor. As long as the other ingredients go well, you're fine. You're safe. So just combine. Remember that do not overmix. We don't want to get any elasticity or kind of mushy dough or batter. So just combine. And then now I'm going to add the zest, raisin, 225 raisin, 26, I don't remember. Cup and a half, square, like some crazy chef do. And then the nuts, which by the way should be roasted a little bit, the nuts. Chopped and slightly toasted. So 10 minutes at 350. And it's always good to have a roasted nuts. It gets a nice flavor. Okay. You agree? That's it. So. Chocolate? Yes, that's a good question. Obviously, yeah, of course, you can, instead of the raisins, you have a chicken here. You can replace the raisins and add chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips. Definitely goes perfect with banana. Or you can let it like that and serve with chocolate sauce, which also is another option. But that's a good point. You know, it's all kind of recipe can be done with different version and taste and influence. So you get this cake here and maybe different a few miles away. Everybody has his own secret or habits and taste. So it's up to you. So we've got here a nice loaf bread pan, right? So what you need to do is just scrape it this and clean it off this way. You can put your finger if you want on it, but lick it. Good. That's something that I used to do with my mother. Every time she was doing macaron, meringue, sablé, you know, like a little cake, easy stuff for the whole family. My grandmother used to be a very good cook too. It was a nice, a few hundred years old fireplace. Used to bake ducks and games, and it was just, you get this flavor all over the house. Just fantastic. Anyway, so I used to lick all kind of dish and stuff. It was a mess. The kitchen was a mess. So what you need to do is just fill up the mold. There you can see. So the recipe is about well, you'll see, just 2/3. Yeah, we can put everything actually. It's gonna fit. So by the way, you talked about chocolate chips. The chocolate chips may go on the bottom by the time it cooks. It may happen. So if it does that, you have to, woo, look at that. That's perfect. So the baking would be 350 for about 50 minutes, 1 hour. You know, we can check and insert a knife and see if it's baked or not. And then to glaze it, when it's baked, you have to glaze it right away with a spatula. Just pour some glaze, a thin layer, and then put in the oven for 1 minute, just to let set the glaze. And you'll get this nice crust, lemony, tangy crust, who goes well with banana. Again. So yeah, if the chocolate chips go on the bottom of your mold, you're better off to mix them with a little flour first. But I think it would be all right. The consistency. So that's a very good item for breakfast and tea time. And once again, it's versatile, so it can be done with different ingredients and nuts, and can be turned to be muffins as well. Multi-possibilities. Is that good to say that? Multi-possibilities. Do you have any question? I feel like you have one. The cake is good? Thank you. Huh? Well, with the raisins and pecans, but you can substitute the raisins by chocolate chips. And even keep the same glaze, because the lemon, little lemon goes well with chocolate, actually. Who likes beer? Beer. Beer is like, beer. No, beer. Beer. So who likes beer? I didn't see that. And wine. Okay, makes sense. Who prefer the white wine? Who likes the white wine? And red? So, okay, red. Okay, more people like red. Good to know. We? Just give him 1 second. You need to find the mold, and if you can try to put it in, be careful, it's just the sauce is moving. And you can bake it. Yeah. Sorry.
Have you ever paired a wine with banana bread?
Yeah, it would be a sweet white wine. Yeah, like yes. Yeah, why not? And champagne goes very well too. I like the bubbling and tangy, so it goes very well with that. And even coffee and mocha or whatever. On the morning time, you don't need to drink wine in the morning time. But if you like wine in the morning time, it's fine. Yes, of course. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, oh yeah, it's baking, right? So you'll see the result, a thin crust. I really personally don't like when you get a lot of frosting or glazed. The glaze should be should give only a final desirable aspect and a little kick, but it's not the main product. The main product should be enough by itself. I mean, you don't need to add a lot of stuff, a lot of frosting or finishing, like glaze or whatever, because that's going to kill the product by itself if it's too thick, you know. So remember that the most important thing is to do the right processing and have a nice product, and then you can add some frosting and glaze and add something on top, but that's optional. The product should be good by itself without any toppings or whatever. And that's a lot of sugar too, you know, the frosting and glazed, it's very, very sweet. So sugar should be how can I say that? Not excessive, yeah, just. So the over sweet product is not good. So flavor, and then also the sweetness kills the flavor. Remember that. So if you eat a pastries or whatever, it's very sweet. That may hide something. Means that the product by itself doesn't have any flavor or something. So it's easier and cheaper to add a lot of frosting and glaze on top, and then forget the main product, because the main product is not well done. So that's the things that very important. And most of the bakery, they have a lot of goods with frosting and always things on top, even sugar. And I'm not crazy about that. And personally, I like the product more than the frosting. So, but if you like frosting, I have nothing against. So now we're gonna do the plated dessert, right? Which is looks like a church. Let me bless you. I feel powerful when I do that. I feel like, wow, I have the power of blessing people. So God bless you anyway. Okay, crunchy milk chocolate mousse banana lime ice cream. Ooh. Da, 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 da. Merci, monsieur. So, in this plated dessert, we've got 3 different texture and flavor. Who, by the way, goes very well together, which is the milk chocolate. So first, we have a crunchy base. It's actually made of hazelnut paste, which is roasted hazelnut caramelized with sugar, and then processed, means crushed and blended. I mean, they use a big roll to process it, and then that becomes a paste. So the praline actually is the name, the hazelnut paste, hazelnut praline paste. It could be also made of almond, or half almond and half hazelnut, which is more expensive because almond are more expensive. But the hazelnut works perfectly. So in the recipe, what I want you guys is just, we actually need 2 cups. I just made a mistake here on the recipe. Crunchy recipe, do you have it? So instead of 1 cup of each, you have 2 cups of hazelnut paste, period. Okay? Because the first one is not available here. So just, get 2 cups of it, or one kind. So this is a very, very interesting texture, crispy, like some bars that we can find in the grocery store, but taste obviously better. So it's based on hazelnut paste, milk chocolate, obviously melted, not hot, warm, and feuillantine, which is a dried crepe. And I think with dried crepe, yeah, you use that, right, in pastry? Dried crepe. It has the same texture than the filling that you use for, I don't remember the name. The most famous cake here is based on cheesecake. Cheesecake, okay. So that's pretty similar. So that's actually the crunchy. So what you need to do, it's very good. You need to flatten, okay, evenly, like I did with the dough before, but you need to have 2 seal pads or 2 parchment paper, one underneath and one on top. Otherwise, it's gonna stick to your rolling pin. So then you flatten and you get a square or round, whatever, and then you let it cool and you cut it. And you use a 1/2 inch high tart ring or entremet. You can use a square as well, any shape you want, small or big, doesn't matter. So that's going to be the base. And the same thickness that the dough, 1/8 thick, right? Then that's going to be the base. And then once cold, we're going to fill with the chocolate mousse. And then the oven. Something is baking here, no? What's the funny noise? Oh, maybe this.
No, it's not.
No? Yeah, it was. I don't know what to turn this on. I like music anyway. So So the plated dessert, though, I was just talking about the crust, the chocolate mousse. It should not be too thick because that's pretty rich. So think about a half-inch thick. Crust, chocolate mousse, glazed, thin glazed, once frozen. And then before serving, make sure the chocolate mousse is at room temperature or defrost, and then you add your ice cream on top. Banana lime ice cream. Use a ripe banana as well. And then you add some brunoise, which is the diced, finely diced mango and bananas. And you add some lime juice and zest, and you get your toppings, like a fruit topping, who actually goes on top of the dessert. So you get the texture from the crunchy, the chocolate milk mousse, and the ice cream, and the brunoise. So you get on the first bite, you get the whole thing. So that's very interesting dessert. And I recommend you to try it. Very, very nice dessert. Same thing, you don't need a big portion, okay? It's all about taste, texture, and you'll enjoy it. That's the heaven right there. And you can make the whole thing in advance, okay? Freeze the chocolate mousse, and even once glazed, you can freeze the whole thing and cut it what you need. Triangle or bar, or even using a tart mold, but not the flatted one, just a flat one. If you want to have a shape like a tart or pie, but that's it's up to you. You can even use the small rings that you have in a pastry department. You have small rings. That's very interesting dessert. And then obviously the ice cream, you can use it anytime you want as long as it's frozen. And if you also use a pacojet, are you familiar with the pacojet? No? It's like a professional way, the fastest way to make ice cream without stabilizer. So you actually keep the ice cream ready, frozen and ready on this kind of container. And when it's ready, pacojet, you plug it in. It looks like a big coffee machine, and it's just processed and like a traditional ice cream machine, but much faster. On a few seconds, you get the emulsion and the right texture, and that's perfect for plated dessert because you can reprocess anytime you want and reuse it. But that gives the right temperature and the perfect texture of the ice cream. Because sometimes the ice cream is too cold, it's very hard, so you can't even cut it. So that's the purpose of this wonderful machine, which is called pacojet. It's been here for like 10 years or something now. It's quite expensive, but if you use a lot of ice cream or gelato, or you can even do some frozen savory toppings and based on watermelon and tomatoes and as well with basil and stuff. So it's very interesting to know what we can do with. But I understand also that if you work in a restaurant, some restaurant they don't have it. But if you have a good turnover and sell a lot of ice cream, that's the way to go, especially plated dessert. It's made for plated dessert actually. So you can see here the thickness of the dessert is very important because that's a rich mousse, so you don't need to eat a lot, just about one inch thick, and you got the crunchy here on the bottom, And this is once glazed. And it's going to look like this. So you see the different layers. So I used a rectangular tart mold, and but you can use any type of mold you want as long as it's straight, not flatted. And this is the ice cream. So I shaped the ice cream the same way. Okay. So in this way, obviously, you don't need Pacojet because it's already shaped, and you can cut it any, you can give it any shape you want, like a square, a triangle, or whatever. Or if you use a Pacojet, you have to use a scooper. Grab it, or a tablespoon to give a nice shape on top. So let me cut this off. I'm going to use a triangle because I like triangle. You can feel the crunchy here. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to use this cute little spatula. Is that not cute? Oh my God. Okay. So never touch with your finger a dessert, okay? Because especially when it's glazed, the customer might see it. It's like in a lot of restaurants, guys, you probably have noticed that how they grab the glass of wine or alcohol like this. Some, right? They serve the wine like this. This is the glass of wine, okay? Just like pretend it, and then just grab like that and put it on the table. And you see 5 fingers print around. And that's something that I can't handle that. It's just a detail. So you see, like you. Let's cut the ice cream before it gets melted. Okay. Let's go with the triangle again, but a little smaller. A little smaller than that. Okay, let's go this way. Okay. So I'm going to put this on top. Come on, baby. Oh. That's pretty dangerous. Okay. That's about it. So now, chef, merci beaucoup. 350 in the oven, 20 minutes. Just kidding. So then now I'm gonna add this nice brunoise. You can add, just banana, based on banana and mango. But if you like other tropical fruits, you can try it. The chicken is coming back. So you can put some on top like this. Okay. Make sure you get all over. You can put some on the plate too. I like this way, like that. So then we have some roasted coconut, and this one was a fresh coconut, shaved and roasted. You can add some simple sugar, a simple syrup, which is basically 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, boiled. And then you sprinkle some over the shredded coconut and roast it about 10 minutes in the oven. And you get some crispness. Like this now. So now, I need a glove because I want to be clean. Let me add a little something here. Maybe 2, now 1 more. Should I? Another one? Are you sure? You know, some coconut on top a little bit. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. So you can see online through my, sorry. You can, Mitch, we can actually slice those guys.
You want to slice it?
Yeah, and you can plate the whole thing. A small one just for tasting. And the same for the ice cream at the end. Okay? And let's see. Just add them. Maybe the shredded one, not this one.
Yes.
Okay, this one.
Yes.
Guys, do we have any questions? No.
So I'm going to talk more about. Yes, sir.
Why did you decide to move from Europe to the USA, given that in Europe, bread and food is so much more appreciated there as in the USA as well?
That's a good question, but in Europe there is too much chef on a per square feet. Here is 52 times bigger than France. France, about 68 million people live there. And here is 350,000 something? No, a million. Sure? 350 million, right? Okay, yeah, sounds better, yeah, so 350 million. So if you compare with the French superficie of the map, and then here you see that here we still have much more space available. So it's a challenge here. It's a challenge, and I like challenge. But you have to think differently. Know the cultures and know the language, of course. Habits and what people like and don't. And I also really do like the cooking show on television, like Food Network, of course, and Bravo Channel. You can be inspired and see what's going on, get some ideas and what actually the audiences are, because each show has a target. And we see more couples right now on television as well, talking about food, blah, blah, blah. So if you have any question, and I will be glad to answer you, and you can always visit my website, which is cookandbakewithbruno.com. I have some video on YouTube and more coming soon, and I have all kind of slideshow of photography, because I also do photography, my own photography. I did my website as well. I worked a lot of, it was long to do, a long work, big work to do, but I have learned a lot. So it's always interesting to do a thing by yourself. You obviously make mistake, but then you try again, and then you succeed. So that's a good way to go and to think, I guess. Never be like desperate or whatever. Life, it goes like this anyway. It can't be perfect every day, okay? Nothing is perfect. And especially dealing with the economy right now, we have to think, but just keep the same goal. Don't give up, same goal. The economy is just like the wind, it comes in and out. We can hope for the best, but we are pretty protected and well off here. If you think about, some other poor country, they don't have what we have, even water to drink. So I think it's a good way to think this way sometimes. Like, okay, we can't complain much, but I know it's sometimes it's the human to all of us complain somehow, but. So if you have any question, I will be happy to answer through my website, and you can, visit it and make some suggestion and question about what we met today, and I will be happy to answer. Yes?
Do you have any advice for us?
the advice for you? Yes, of course. I think you are on the right school. Johnson Wells is a beautiful site in school, and we have wonderful teachers. I have met all of them. Very good atmosphere is very important. The team work is very important also, like I said before. And you learn a lot from here, the basics and more. And then the advice would be just keep going and just do what you want to do and never be desperate. I mean, cooking, baking, it's not easy, but at least we need to eat every day. So keep this in your mind. Everyone needs to eat. So every job and work related to food, it's a good way to go. And obviously it depends what is your ultimate goal, what you want to really do and be. Have your own business, for instance, or work for a big company. Well, I recommend you definitely to work for a company, not even if it's not big, a small one, and then move forward and get bigger and bigger, and then one day you'll have your own business. If you get your own business too soon, you may eventually lose more money than if you think a little, further and say, well, I'm going to wait a little bit, get more experience from any kind of job that I may get. And if it's food, if it's a restaurant, a hotel, or whatever, anything is good. Just learn all the time, anything you can, and then you'll find an opportunity. And networking is very important as well. I was talking about LinkedIn before, or I already talked about that? No, before. Okay, so LinkedIn, it's a professional network. It's owned by the guy who created Facebook. So Facebook is to get easy friends. You click, and that's going to become your friends right away. And LinkedIn is a professional network. Very, very interesting, and I think it's hundreds of millions of people are in it. The connection is huge. It's a very serious website, safe, and even though your curriculum, your resume is not big, because you're starting something. It's the beginning. It's always good to start to have something visible online that show your motivation, your goal, and what you expect, and then you may eventually find contact from other company who may like your perspective. So just keep going, and you'll find an opportunity to do what you want to do. Is that on?
What's that?
I don't know.
Well, we appreciate you coming here today, Chef. My name is Steve Shipley. I'm the Director of Development and Alumni Relations with Johnson Wales University. And we only do 3 of these per year. And it's our most special event here on the culinary campus. So we're extremely proud that you took the time out of your busy schedule to present to the faculty, the staff, and most importantly, the students at Johnson Wales. So thank you very much, Chef.
I'm honored.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you, you guys.
I have something here for you.
Oh.
This is the Chef Special Medallion, and my eyesight's getting a little blurry, so that's okay. Bruno Albouze, the 156th Distinguished Visiting Chef, March 25th, 2009. This is a special DVC medallion. I'm going to present that to you. Okay.
Looks great.
Looking good, Chef.
Thank you so much. That's a great gift. Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
every chef needs some toys.
You're
we
right.
brought you some toys. These are from the Frederick Dick Company. This is the company that supplies our 5,500 culinary students nationwide at our 4 campuses with their knife kits. And you can see it says, for the kitchen of Bruno Albouze, Distinguished Visiting Chef, Johnson Wales University, March 25th, 2009. And inside, we have a number of, sorry for turning my back to you. These are some nice knife kit. The knife kit right here, it actually all engraved with your name on it.
Really?
So
thank you so much. I really
welcome.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'd also like to thank all the faculty members for bringing their students here today, but most importantly, I'd like to thank all the students here for choosing Johnson Wales. It's a I hope you're finding that it's an incredible institution and that the faculty members and everyone here involved with the campus really cares all about you. So how many people out there in the next 10 years will we see up here as a DVC? Come on, raise your hand. 10 years. As a distinguished visiting chef, what do you think? That doesn't intimidate you guys, does it? So, do you have your staff back there, chef? Is anybody back there? You know, you should look at it that way. If I asked the chef here, when he was 19 years ago, when you were 19 years old, a few years back, if you ever thought you'd
2 years back.
2 years back, if you thought, everybody put this down, I get excited sometimes here, that you thought you'd be in front of students or in front of anybody presenting.
No, I even wasn't expected to be in the United States, to be frank.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge, and you know, you never know what's going to happen in your life. Just keep going and keep thinking that positively and working hard to reach your goal. And then, you know, I'm very, very happy to be here and honored. And
so you're
it's a
parting
great opportunity.
words of wisdom. By the way, that camera that's on us right now, your DVC tape will be held in our Culinary Archives library here for years and years to come, for all the students to see. So we appreciate that. So your last parting words of wisdom to our students, what advice could you give the students?
Well, believe in yourself. Everything is possible as long as you believe in yourself first, and listen what the teacher says to you, and just keep going. Keep up the good work, and I think it's pretty
good.
much it.
It's good. I'd also like to, why don't you guys come over here also? I'd like to thank the support staff that had the opportunity to work with Chef Albouze and Taylor. Come on over. Taylor had a chance to work back in the kitchens also, so the whole group here. You guys can get on the camera. Here, why don't you get all around the chef? And we have a photographer right here. We'll do that. Get the whole gang. Come on in. Get a chance to see everybody. So, Chef, you're a lucky man. It's all ladies here, huh? There you go. There you go. But thank you to all of you for
so
coming
much.
here today.
I appreciate your work. Thanks.
All the best with your education. And
you.
Chef, thank you so much for everything that you've done today.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Have a great day.
Thank you.